the story of our world every day. Listen and your heart may open up. If ever you feel frightened of our world that's washed away, a mother is a mother, come to us. Women, 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 women. Women sew the fabric of our world every day. History of violence made it through. The stories that we share will live on until we say these truths are our gifts passed on to you.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Liebau, the Scheherazade Project's co-founder with Julia Alvarez, and this is the hashtag 101 Nights show. Back on July 25th, we began our countdown with creativity to Election Day 2020. Now we're less than a month away. We set out to have at least 101 women artists sharing stories in any art form, and with your help, we've grown well beyond that. Our beloved community of artists, art lovers, and activists is gaining momentum. Let's use that energy to engage in democracy. Vote, encourage others to vote, drive someone to the polls, or volunteer to count absentee ballots. Here's another way you can nourish the grassroots. Share your YouTube, IGTV, or Facebook links to your favorite hashtag 101 Nights episodes via social media or messages to friends and family. Tonight, our featured artist is Gish Jen. She published short work in The New Yorker, The Atlantic Monthly, and dozens of other periodicals, anthologies, and textbooks. Her work has appeared in the Best American Short Stories 4 times, including the Best American Short Stories of the Century, edited by John Updike. Nominated for a National Book Critics Circle Award, her work was featured in a PBS American Masters special on the American novel and is widely taught. Jen is a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. She has been awarded a Lannan Literary Award for Fiction, a Guggenheim Fellowship, a Radcliffe Institute for Advanced Study Fellowship, and a Mildred and Harold Strauss Living Award. She has also delivered the William E. Massey Senior Lectures in the History of American Civilization at Harvard University. It's an honor to bring to the hashtag 101 Nights screen, Gish Jen.
Hi, everyone. I am Gish Jen. I'm delighted to be participating in this project. I'm going to read to you from the beginning of my latest novel, The Resistors. Some of you may know this is a post-automation, surveillance state, feminist baseball dystopia. It takes place 40, 50 years from now. And it's in a society that's divided into 2 classes, the netted. That's kind of the Uber class. They're affiliated with Aunt Nettie, which is kind of a mashup between AI and the internet, and proxy for the government. And then there are the surplus, the people who are not much needed by this super capitalistic society. As for whether they tend to be of color, yes. In any case, this is the beginning of the book. As her parents, Eleanor and I should have known earlier. But Gwen was a preemie to begin with. That meant oxygen at first, and after that, special checkups. And her early months were bumpy. She had jaundice, she had roseola, she had colic, she had a heart murmur, things that I can now see distracted us. Especially with the one chance policy, we were focused on her health to the exclusion of all else. For the netted, it was different, of course, but for us surplus, the limit was 1 pregnancy per couple, and Eleanor was just out of jail. Outside the house, she had a drone minder tracking her every move. The message was clear. She was not getting away with anything. And in any case, we loved Gwen and would never have wanted to replace her, worried that we were that she was delicate, that she might never consume the way she needed to, the way we all needed to. Not that charges of underconsumption couldn't be fought in the courts. This was Auto-America, after all. For all the changes wrought by AI and automation, now rolled up with the internet into the eye burrito we called Aunt Nettie, we did still have a constitution. And if anyone could defend what was left of our rights, it was our own fierce Eleanor, of whom even the platoons of Canada geese who patrolled our neighborhood, the pit bulls, one might say, of the waddling world, were afraid. But as Eleanor's incarceration brought home, these battles had a price, and in the meanwhile, even worrying and weighing the options distracted us from realizing other things we might have noticed a bit earlier had Gwen had a sibling. It is so hard for a new parent to imagine a child any different from the one he or she has. Children do so have their own gravity. They are their own normal. And so it is only now that we can see that there were signs. All children take what's in their crib and throw it, for example. It's universal. But Gwen threw her stuffed animals straight through her bedroom doorway. They shot out, never so much as grazing the doorframe, and they always hit the wall or the staircase across from her bedroom at a certain spot, with the precise force they needed to bounce forward and drop clean down to the bottom of the stairwell. Was she maybe 2 when she did this? Not even, although she was already a southpaw. And already she seemed to have unusually long arms and long fingers, or so I remember remarking one day, not that Eleanor and I had so many babies on which to base our comparison. Ours was just an impression, but it was a strong impression. Her fingers were long. I remember, too, having to round up a veritable menagerie on the landing before I could start up the stairs. The stuffed hippo, the stuffed tiger, the 3 or 4 stuffed dogs, the stuffed orca and toucan and platypus and turtle. I gathered them all into my arms like the storybook zookeeper of some peaceable kingdom. It was as if I, too, ought by rights to have been made of plush. Of course, our house was automated, as all surplus houses were required to be by law, and the animals could easily have been clear floated. All I had to do was say the word and the housebots would emerge from their closets, their green appendages poised to help. Clear float now? Aren't those animals in your way? And we can roll and clear if you'd prefer. You have a choice. You always have a choice. The choice business being a new feature of the program. A bit of cyber ingratiation, you might say, to balance its more habitual cyber intimidation. If you trip, it will be your own fault, for example, and do note that your choice is on the record. Nothing is being hidden from you. Your choice is on the record. Meaning that I was losing living points every time. Living points being something like what we used to call brownie points when I was growing up, except that these were more critical than money for everything from getting a loan to getting a plane ticket, to getting Gwen into net U one day, should we dream of that, a goal that people said involved tens of thousands or maybe even hundreds of thousands of points. As for how this society got to be this way, I'm going to read ahead a little bit or skip ahead a little bit to Grant's thoughts about how, this Aunt Nettie came to take over this world. He says, like others, I had allowed Aunt Nettie to keep my calendar back in the days when, as the young head of an English as a second language program, I still had immigrants to teach and obligations to juggle. This was some time ago now, back before Ship 'em Back. But like others, then, I had also allowed Aunt Nettie to email people on my behalf, checking the mimic your voice option and marveling at just how perfectly she could replicate my tics of phrasing, especially because I had, in my youthful diligence, sent so many thousands of emails. Indeed, Aunt Nettie had so much data on me that not even Eleanor could tell it was not I who had composed the messages she received from my account. And like others too, I had taken advantage of the easy tools offered to me and trained Aunt Nettie to write my lessons and my syllabi, even to generate sample sentences and punny jokes. Indeed, I trained her so well that I had more than once observed that an avatar could now run the class. As for why I did these things, I generally did them, I see now, because I appreciated some associated convenience, which was to say because I could be, as my mother liked to say, lazy as a rock at the bottom of a hill. And as for the resulting reality, was it not disconcertingly like the sea level rise and heat and wind we knew long ago would come with climate change, but have since come to call normal? No one would have willfully chosen the stranding of whole office parks and schools and neighborhoods by the flooding we saw now. No one would have willfully chosen the generating of the places we called maroon places, just as no one would have chosen the extinction of frogs and of polar bears, or the decimation of our pine and spruce forests by the explosion in the number of bark beetles. After all, it was not the earth that chose it, or any other creature. It was we who made our world what it was. It was we who were responsible. And of course, we are now endeavoring to do something about that. Carry on all. I applaud you. I am with you. To November.
Thank you to our featured artists and to you for joining the Scheherazade Project's hashtag 101 Nights. We're fast approaching Election Day and we need all of us to draw attention to it. Please add your voice by posting a photo or video of your story, poem, dance, tapestry, painting, song, any art you wish to share on your Twitter or Instagram account, and include hashtag 101 NIGHTS. In the meantime, if voter registration deadlines haven't yet passed in your state, volunteer to register voters. And of course, go vote, everyone.
Women, 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 women sew the fabric of our world every day. History of violence made it through. The stories that we share will live on until we say these truths are our gifts passed on to you.